Max Verstappen has won yet again. Huh? What? He didn't win? Oh, so Ferrari... What? That's impossible. He's called Lando No Wins. How is he possibly the winner? Yes, it has happened. We knew the day would come. I mean, let's be honest. We'll get into that a bit later. But a great meme has died today. The meme, the joke that Lando Norris, of course, he has so many podiums, so many second place finishes. Everyone was calling him Lando No Wins as a joke. Everyone was saying, oh, Lando, when are you going to win a race? When's it going to happen? Where is it going to happen? And it just had not happened. But today, that question was answered. Lando Norris wins his first career race in Formula One at the Miami Grand Prix. Started 5th in this race, had some things go his way strategy-wise, but at the end of this race, he pulled 7.5 seconds on Max Verstappen. Norris, as I said, started this day 5th on the grid, was hanging around that area for the first half or so of this race, and then the pit stops started happening. All the guys in front of Lando Norris had pitted, and he had assumed the lead of this race. They opted to run long, basically bet on a safety car coming out, something to make their pit stop shorter or to make that time span shorter, and it happened. Kevin Magnussen received his 10 billionth penalty of the weekend when he and Logan Sargent made contact, resulting in Sargent being out of the race. So a full course safety car comes out, and Lando Norris, who had the lead, was able to pit, get fresh tires, and keep the lead. And that's huge. You know, you get a short pit stop, you suddenly go from 5th to 1st, essentially, in the pit cycle, and you have the freshest tires out of anyone? Like, this is lining up. You know, there's still 22 or so laps to go, but it's lining up to, it's like, whoa, Lando Norris could have a shot at his first career win here. Max Verstappen got a really good restart, was side by side with Norris heading into one, but Lando Norris was able to hold on. Norris was able to pull out of that 1 second DRS zone in that one lap. Of course, remember last year and previous years, the DRS zone, it was within 2 laps. 2 laps after the restart, you were allowed to get DRS, but this year, it is now 1 lap after the restart. So, you know, if you can pull that 1 second gap, it has to be in 1 lap. And Norris was able to do that. And Verstappen never got within DRS. Verstappen, as I said, kept falling back. It was 1.5 seconds. It was 2 seconds, 2.5, 3, all the way on. And Lando Norris was able to do it. He was able to pick up his first career win. McLaren, only their second win of the 2020s, that first one being in 2021 with Daniel Ricciardo at Monza. Their second win since 2012. Lando Norris is the first McLaren driver to win in the United States since 2012 when Lewis Hamilton did it. This is the first time a British national anthem has been played on the podium since 2022 at Brazil. It's the first time that Max Verstappen has been beaten by someone not named Carlos Sainz since that same Brazil race in 2022 when George Russell did it. Or let me correct myself, a non-Red Bull to beat Max Verstappen. Of course, Perez won 2 races last year. But a lot of trends broken here, a lot of streaks ended here, but Lando Norris, in terms of his first win, what does this mean? As I said at the beginning of this video, the questions were being asked. When's it going to happen? Where's it going to happen? How's it going to happen? Lando Norris did not fluke into this win. Sure, he got a very well-timed safety car, but after that, as I said, he pulled away from Verstappen. It's not like he had to block Verstappen from winning. He had to run him off the road or something, or, you know, it was a 1-lap, 2-lap shootout, something like that people may consider fluky. Lando Norris had 22 laps that he had to hold off Verstappen, and as I said, he ran away from him. As for the bigger picture, yeah, it was bound to happen, as I've said multiple times in this video. You know, if he had had, you know, maybe 1 or 2 podiums in his career up to this point, his 5-year career, and this happens, like, oh, okay, you know, he won, it's really cool from him, but, you know, it's never going to happen again. You know, he may not even get a podium again. But Lando Norris, he had, 8 runner-up finishes leading into this race. He had the most podiums in F1 history without a win. There's a reason, you know, it's like they always say, he's not running up there by fluke. He's not getting these podiums by fluke. He's going to break through at some point. Today was that some point. So Lando Norris is your winner of the Miami Grand Prix. Only the 3rd Miami Grand Prix ever. I think, and he's the first one not named Max Verstappen to do it. As I said, huge win for him, huge day for McLaren. We'll talk about Oscar Piastri here in a minute. But a huge day for him, a huge day for McLaren. Anytime anyone gets their first win, it's a really big deal, really cool to see. All the different drivers congratulating Norris on the win, from Alonso to Ricciardo, Leclerc, Sainz. All these people we saw on TV congratulating Norris. As I said, huge deal to get his first career win. It's like, the third driver we've seen get their first career win in the last couple of years. So really cool to see this kind of new era of Formula One kind of rising up, with Russell getting a win, Sainz getting a win, Norris getting a win. Obviously, we're in the Max Verstappen era of F1 in terms of the championships. But speaking of Max Verstappen, he finishes second. It's his first time losing in the United States since 2019 at COTA. He had won every race in the United States up to that point, or between now and then. 2021 COTA, both races in 2022, and all 3 races in 2023, he won in the United States. So that streak has ended for Verstappen. Verstappen has lost 2 of the first 6 races this season. I think it's time to have a conversation. Is Max Verstappen washed? Just bringing up that point. Obviously, just kidding. He's still far and ahead, the leader in the World Championship for the drivers. But a good day for him. He had complained a lot about just not having grip throughout the day. Led, obviously, that first half of the race and was able to hold on to second. Usually, I think he'd be a little bit more upset, but he seemed pretty happy that Lando won. So, obviously, just fine day for Verstappen. For his standards, he's probably a little bit disappointed, but still, second place on the podium. Third place, Charles Leclerc, another podium for him in 2024. Ferrari, once again, looks fast, but Leclerc is still looking for that first win of the season. Fourth place, Carlos Sainz. Good day for him. Finished where he started, I believe. Fifth place, Sergio Perez. Oh, my goodness. About just annihilated the top 5 in the first turn of this race. He went really aggressive into turn 1, trying to get by both of the Ferraris, locked up, and thankfully, he went a little bit too hard and missed him, because he missed the turn, and the Ferraris were smart enough to avoid him. So no damage done. Perez fell back to 5th, and he just sat in 5th all day. The Red Bulls just didn't seem as dominant as they usually are this weekend, but ultimately, still double points day for him. 2nd and 5th, though, for a modern Red Bull, that's extremely disappointing for him. 6th place, Lewis Hamilton, fine day for him. 7th place was Yuki Tsunoda. Really good day for him. A solid points day. RB as a whole, or Racing Bulls, whatever they're called these days. A really good points weekend for him. Double points in the sprint with Ricciardo and Tsunoda, and then Yuki Tsunoda picking up 6 points here today. George Russell finishes 8th, double points day for Mercedes. 9th place, Fernando Alonso, and 10th place, Esteban Ocon. That's the biggest shock of the day, that Alpine scored points. Who would have thought that? As for your non-points finishers, Hülkenberg, Gasly, Piastri. Oscar Piastri finishes 13th. That is not reflective of his day. Ran up in the podium places early in this race, and then after the safety car just kind of hurt him. Fell back to 5th or so, I want to say. Had a great battle with Carlos Sainz, but unfortunately, in the process, made contact with Sainz. It broke his front wing. He had to come in and pit. Fell all the way back to last because it was pretty quick after the restart within the first few laps. So ultimately, that's just ruined his day. He ends up 13th. So, not quite a McLaren sandwich for the grid, but, definitely disappointing for that. But I'm sure they're happy with the win. They'll take it. 14th, Zhou Guanyu. 15th, Daniel Ricciardo. Valtteri Bottas, 16th. Lance Stroll, 17th. Kevin Magnussen, 18th. Got a penalty for wrecking Sargent. Got a penalty for not serving his penalty correctly. And then if we go to yesterday, he had like 4. So at least 6 penalties this weekend for Kevin Magnussen. Might be a world record. I don't know. Maybe Ocon still owns that record from last year at Bahrain. 19th, Alex Albon. And then 20th, Logan Sargent. Yeah, that incident was weird. Sargent, Magnussen looked like he was kind of in his blind spot maybe. And also it's just a really weird place on the track to make a pass, and ultimately they just came together. So I definitely would lean Magnussen at fault there, but it wasn't egregious. It was just him being aggressive. But anyways, that's the race at Miami today. The NASCAR race got weather delayed, so I didn't have to stress out making this super quick like I normally do in terms of the U.S. races. They're usually at the same time as the NASCAR race. F1 finishes first, and I got to rush through the F1 race recap so I can watch the NASCAR race. But It decided to rain at Kansas today, so I was able to get this full thing in. But Lando Norris gets his first career win, a very big deal. Let me know what your thoughts were on the race. It was a decent race. There was a good amount of passing throughout the field. Max Verstappen didn't win, so I'm sure a lot of people are going to take that as a win in terms of liking the race and whatnot. But as I said, a first-time winner. Let me know what your thoughts were on the race. I'll see you guys later for the Kansas race recap.